Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular select board meeting for January 6, 2022. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Are there any public comments that are not on the agenda? Any
Sure, I just got one.
Okay.
I don't know where I put it, but it's what I spoke to you about before, about the select board's increase.
Oh. You are welcome to propose that to the board.
Okay. For 3 years, I talked about it, but I've always been too late to get it here. I know the amount of hours that each and every one of you put in there on a thankless job. And for a little bit of peanuts you get and the hours you put in, I think is kind of ridiculous. And I would like to encourage the select board to propose. I know you don't want to give yourselves a raise, but I'm speaking on not only myself, but a lot of other community members that I've talked to about increasing your guys' little per diem you get. And I would strongly suggest that you guys probably might want to do that with a thankless job that you do. But I do appreciate everything you do, and I know a lot of townspeople do. That's all I've got to say.
Well, we thank you very much and we'll take it under advisement. We appreciate the thought, Keith. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the support.
Any other public comments? Okay. Do we have MVR representatives here?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. You'll have to tell us who you are because it's hard for us to see on the Zoom.
All right, so you got myself, Josh Ram, and Lynn Billadu.
Okay. So first, how have things been going in the town of Highgate for you in the last couple of years?
I feel like it's been going pretty good. I will say one thing is that this year has been extremely busy, especially for the town of Highgate. This year we have had 422 calls in Highgate alone, and that is substantially from previous years. Overall, though, I feel like we've been doing well. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, did you want me to kind of open up with brief little history here, or did you guys have questions? Or
No, go ahead and give us a little history. We have a couple of newer board members, so that would be great.
okay, all right. So for the board members who don't know who I am, I'm Josh Ramsdell. I'm the manager here at Missisquoi. Lynn Billadu, she's the president. So Missisquoi Valley Rescue was established in August of 1976, specifically for the EMS coverage for Highgate and Swanton. Over the last, let's see here, over the last 40 plus years, we have been kind of on the forefront of patient care in our region. We have 3 paramedic staffed ambulances, staff of 25. We have 5 full-time employees, 3 volunteers, and the remainder are part-time. We've seen a steady call over the years. In 2017, we added sleep quarters here at our station. We renovated that way we could stay here with our crews in the trucks. In 2018, due to increasing call volume, we added a 3rd ambulance, and that ambulance has come in very handy, especially this year. Again, due to the increased call volume. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
We're running 2 crews. We started out running 2 crews Monday through Friday. Now we have for the weekend as well. We're running with crews because of that call volume. The second crew is a 10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shift. seems to be when it's busiest. So we've been able to staff that pretty well.
And for the population that we cover between Highgate and Swan, which is a little over 10,000, the 2 trucks at those times seem to work very well. We required very little mutual aid. This year total, Highgate, Swan, played everything. We're actually at 1,709 calls for the year. And this is up 440 over last year. One significant increase we have seen is in mutual aid. This year alone, we've done 131 calls mutual aid. Let's see, our CPR, I don't know or not, but we do have a training center, the region's American Heart Association Training Center. We certify first responders, the public and stuff in CPR. We've certified over 406 this year, generally around 1,000, but due to COVID, those numbers have been down a little bit. But the 3 trucks and the 2 shifts seem to cover the majority of the calls comfortably. And I'll leave it up to you guys if you have any questions.
So are you having staffing problems like basically every other business in the United States at the moment?
Actually, to be honest, we have been doing actually very good with staffing. Again, probably 3 weeks ago, we had all 3 of our trucks rolling, and we've required very little. I think one thing that has kind of helped is we do pay our employees fairly decent. It is a tough job, can be. And that has seemed to have retained our workforce and bring new people in as well.
Good. Now you said you're getting more mutual aid calls. Is that putting the stress on the service you're able to provide to Highgate or Swanton?
At the moment, no. Again, the 2 trucks and the 3rd on-call truck, we have, again, been able to cover most everything. I mean, there's always going to be times somebody needs mutual aid, but no, we've been covering it very well. Hasn't put a strain on us at this point.
That's good. Anyone else have any other questions?
That was actually my question too, so thank you.
So I've got a question. How does the mutual aid work if you've got to call in, let's say, Amcare into Highgate? Does that affect Highgate any, or?
I would say that it probably would affect them in terms of maybe a slightly longer response time, depending on where they're coming from.
Okay. But money-wise, it doesn't?
Money-wise, no. Nope.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing I had forgot to bring up was dispatch. Dispatching with us, I think, is continuing to save you guys, I think, quite a bit of money. I'm not sure what it was this year, but I know, let's say we were to have another year at, with, let's say, 500 calls, we would be at like 10,000 for EMS dispatching. And I know that's substantially less overall when, I just want to kind of add that in with our quote, since we have different dispatch centers.
Yes, it is very true. The dispatching for you is significantly less than what we were paying previously.
I just wanted to make sure that was kind of incorporated when the bids are looked at.
So, and as you mentioned, the ambulance services has been put out to bid, and we have received 2 bids. The select board has the duty and the responsibility of allowing that to be a informed choice for our voters. Depending on current legislature and a few other ideas, we're trying to provide as much information to our voters as we can. So if you have any pamphlets, any worksheets, anything that you would like us to provide to our voters, we are happy to do that on our website for you.
All right, yeah, I can get something together. Yep.
Okay. It would be for a 3-year contract, similar to the contract that you're currently in.
Yeah, correct. So we kind of reevaluated everything. I mean, if you guys are interested in a 5-year contract or a different term contract, we're willing to negotiate. I didn't really want to lock in 5 years because that's kind of that's a lengthy period of time. And I'm fairly confident that like we did this time around, or after the end of be able to decrease again. The way things have been going here is financially has been, and we don't want to lock in taxpayers to a higher rate than they need to be for longer than they should be,
Yeah, I think the 3-year contract has been a benefit to both the ambulance service and the town as far as the time period. Seems to work well, and like you said, things are changing so quickly now, I wouldn't want to lock anyone into a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be fair.
They have our budget.
I do have one question. The difference in dispatch fees, is there a number or something that we could go on that, it's very difficult because it's on number of calls I know is how you're billed. But going through your dispatch is considerably less expensive. If we were to go through a different dispatch, the different amount it would be, how much more money it would be?
I'm not entirely. I know I believe St. Albans, I can't really speak, $12 capita, I think, something, fire and EMS, 25. So I'm not sure what exactly.
Unfortunately, due to Zoom, most of what you said was broke up, so I didn't understand you. But no problem. I just think that's important for people to know for information that gets out there. That's information that needs to be known. I mean, we want this as fair across the board as possible, and that's what Sharon was saying. So I think that's important. That's all.
Shelley, are you with us?
Oh, say that again.
I am.
Can you answer Kyle's question?
I think it would be best to listen to Ampere and see who they are using for dispatch
Okay,
first. I can only speak to the past.
okay. All right.
Currently, with MVR, when they switched to Middlebury dispatching, we are billed per call. And I'd have to look back at the bills to see exactly how we were billed for the St. Albans dispatch when we were with, well, even before when we were with MVR, before they switched, and Amcare, but we received an annual bill in July that it was a flat fee. So I don't know if that's changed in the last 6 years, 3 years. Maybe Jason might have some insight to that too, once you get to Jason.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for MVR?
Actually, I do have, I forgot. It is about dispatching. We did meet with, I forgot I had this. We met with St. Albans because we just kind of wanted to talk about possibly going back, being under one roof, there's a benefit there. But we opted to stay because of their EMS orientation with dispatching versus, other, PD, fire, all that. They're really, really good. And obviously they're an EMS agency. So it's kind of a good thing to have. So right here, it says Highgate. This would be for fiscal year 22, 23, 43,620 for EMS. Not sure you guys. I don't know if you're able to see that. No. I can send this to you if need be.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And you were correct. We can all see that.
Sorry.
That's okay. Gotta love Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
This might be a little naive of me to ask, but are the proposal with the cost that you gave, is that negotiable or is that solid numbers?
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
The question he asked was the proposal you gave us, is that negotiable or is that solid?
No, that's negotiable. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
So Sharon, I'm looking through an old town report, and the last time we paid St. Albans Dispatch for EMS services was $25,525.
Mm.
And that was fiscal year 18-19.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. Okay. MVR, do you have any questions for us?
I was just curious now, is this gonna be, no, ultimately the select board has the right. Is it gonna be a select board decision or is it gonna go to the voters? I know you were talking a little bit about it, but I was just curious.
What we are suggesting will be voted on at tonight's meeting so that we can get the ballots and everything ready. But it is, I believe, I speak for the board, it's our intention to let the voters make that decision with the most accurate information that we can provide them.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for,
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
if you need anything from us, any more statistics or anything, let me know.
Like I said, give us as much factual information that you can provide us, and so that we can provide something to our voters.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You are very
Thank
welcome.
you.
All right. Does anybody in the audience have anything for, a question for the Missisquoi Valley Rescue? Okay, all right, thank you so much. Okay, do we have a representative from AmCare?
Yes, ma'am. You actually have two representatives. My name is William Rosenberg. I'm the president, and our director, Clement Rogers, is also on a separate Zoom as well.
Evening. Good evening.
Good evening. So what can you tell us about yourselves? You're under new management, we understand.
I think that's probably the biggest misnomer, perhaps, if you will. So Clem Roger, who is the director, was the director of operations, has been there for a long time. I, of course, am Will Rosenberg. We are under new ownership. I own the parent company that owns AmCare. AmCare is still run in Vermont by people in Vermont, by leaders that have been there. What we have provided to AmCare is more of the back office, I like to say, support to their accounts payable, their accounts receivable, human resources, legal resources, things that they had to pay a lot of outside areas for, or couldn't perform as diligently with in-house staff. The clinicians haven't changed. The local leadership hasn't changed, elevated a little bit with Mr. Cruel's retirement, but all still local, although I do spend a lot of time coming up to Vermont and helping them. What I have been able to provide, what we provided for AmCare, is really some fiscal, some support, some capital support. Since we took over in July, since it officially became official in July, the process started last December. Of course, it needed Green Mountain Care approval, but we've done is been able to elevate the level of service and technology and resources available to the providers that provide service to the patients. Some examples of that: they've got 6 brand new cardiac Zol X monitors. They got brand new ventilators, brand new IV pumps, brand new bariatric stretcher. They have mobile access points in all their vehicles, which provides real-time GPS to their location, both to our dispatch center and to it is available to the St. Albans Police Department. We're working with their CAD vendor to integrate that. allows them to do real-time reporting, send 12 leads to the hospitals right from the ambulance with the mobile access points, artificial intelligent cameras in the vehicles for safety for both the patients and the clinicians, and some other IT upgrade and infrastructures in the quarters of the buildings, and dispatching upgrades in infrastructures. So I can give you a little history on Amcare, and I'll let Clem chime in if that's okay, or we'll proceed as you
Yes.
wish.
Yep, no, go right ahead.
Sure, absolutely. So Amcare has been around for 30 years in Franklin County. It's the largest provider of EMS and largest EMS employer in the county. We have about 50 employees, 3 24-hour plus crews, all ALS, all in station, not coming from home, plus surge additional crews of 4 or 5. There are 6 ambulances between the 2 stations, as I said, staffed in the building. We were the first paramedic service in the county for District 1. We have about 12 paramedics on staff, 7, actually about to be 9 full-time by the end of the week. We provide paramedic internship for multiple colleges, obviously 2 centrally located stations. I spoke about the 6 ambulances. Largest and pretty much the only provider of homebound vaccination and testing. Do a lot of testing and a lot of COVID vaccination and testing for the entire county. And then I'll let Clem fill in the rest of the history since he's been around for the entire history. I've learned a lot of the history in the past year.
Well, we have changed quite a bit in 1 year in our technology, but our service is still the same, is still oriented the same way into a professional, well-trained, well-educated EMS system that functions quite well. We keep tight relationships with our local hospital, with our district, with everybody that we work with in order to give basically the best care that we can to our patients. And thanks to Will and what I like to call the mothership, the big company, I don't really have to worry about the bills. I don't have to worry about the payroll. I don't have to worry about a lot of things. I don't have to worry about human resources or laws and things like that. That's where they come in. I concentrate on with my team of supervisors to train and to lead our staff to just render the best possible care to the people that we serve in Franklin County. And with that, we have been very busy in the last year and a half, really. COVID has taken its toll on everybody, on the whole community, and it's taken a toll on resources and really made it hard for people to get vaccinated when they needed to. And we stepped in and we helped as best as we could, providing a lot of support for the state when they had their clinics, and then doing our own, going on the road. I bet we've logged probably a couple thousand miles going through Franklin County, going to homebound people who can't get out of the house. If you figure your older people that can't drive, your quadriplegic patients, your patients that are bedbound for whatever reason, they've got vaccinated. And they got vaccinated thanks in parts to us, not all by us. Franklin County Home Health did a lot of work, and we worked in unison with them to get everybody vaccinated. The same with testing. We've gone to a lot of houses where people with cancer, for instance, didn't want to come out in the community. Immunocompromised patients didn't want to go out and risk getting sick. So we went to them and tested them for COVID-19 and vaccinated them as well. And we're still busy. We had a drive-through clinic today. We did 222 COVID tests right there at the ambulance station. Doing it again. Do it again twice, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. There's a need. There's a surge of COVID cases in Vermont right now, and across the nation. And people want the reinsurance, want the tests to see, and employers want their employees tested. Now the schools are going back in session, the colleges are going back in session, so everybody wants to be tested. So we're trying to do our share while we still maintaining coverage and service in our area. That's kind of us in a nutshell. Like I said, my last 16 years at Amcare, we've seen a lot of changes, all for the better. I've just seen improvement in the quality of care in the whole district, not just from us, but from everybody. And I think that comes just from the education that we provide and that we offer to people, and trainings that we continually do. That's where we're at.
questions from you.
Yes, can you tell me which towns you are servicing now?
I think I'll take that because my boss always mixes up Fairfield and Fairfax, so.
That is true. I always screw it up. I get the first 4 right.
We cover St. Albans City, St. Albans Town, Fairfield, Sheldon, and Georgia. Can't really tell you what the population total is because I don't remember it. If I tried to, I'd probably give you a wrong number, so I'm not going to try.
And you're still doing quite a bit of transporting for Northwest?
We do.
So
Yes,
yeah, we do some critical care and interfacility transports for Northwest, but we do keep a minimum baseline of at least 2 ALS 911 trucks in and available at all times, and preferably 3. So we don't let the interfacility transport compromise the quality of 911 care. But as I've told people when they ask these questions, the critical transfers out of Northwestern are just as important as some 911 transfers, because God forbid you or your family member should land at Northwestern and need an emergent cardiac procedure. We don't want to see you stranded there and not able to safely get to tertiary clinical care down at UVM or whatever. So some of those transports are just as equally, if not more important than some 911 transports for the quality of clinical care necessary to the citizens.
Correct.
Personnel issues. How's your personnel keeping up with staff?
How's our personnel? What? I'm sorry, sir, you broke up.
How's your staffing personnel? Are you able to keep up to keep your crews full?
Yeah, so we so thanks to Clem kind of jokes. So when we came in last year, staff got paid 16 hours a day, not 24. We changed that immediately and we upped the rates. So over the past year, obviously there's not enough EMS providers in Franklin County as there are jobs. So we have really been able to up the rates and everything else. And we've done really well with staffing. No complaints. I'd always say everybody could take another person any day of the week, but not significant staffing shortages that are being seen by some other agencies, especially with the COVID downplay. Anyone says they're perfectly staffed, I think they're probably not telling you the truth, but we are very well staffed. And, compared to some other offices across the nation that we service, Vermont is by far leading the way as far as staffing goes for our organization.
Now we have a question of dispatching. You're still going through St. Albans Dispatch, I'm assuming?
So we're
We are.
dispatch agnostic, right? I mean, so our 5 towns that we work with all contract with St. Albans. I guess probably kind of crazy to say the city contracts with the city, but all 5 of the jurisdictions that we use St. Albans for dispatching. One of the things I did when we came in here is we got rid of away of the ring down and some of the slower dispatch technologies and went to pagers and tones. So theoretically, any dispatch center who had our tone could tone out our crews. They're all tracked by our central dispatch center. We have radio over IP frequencies built in. So I like to say we're dispatch agnostic. The preference of Highgate, is we defer to you as the town. We don't try to drive our towns into what contracts they want to get into, who they want to use for services. As I said, all 5 of our towns do currently use St. Albans City Police. But obviously, listening to you for the past half an hour, obviously there seems to be a great disparity in price at this point in time.
I think what it boils down to is what your decision is and what you guys want to do. There's no reason why we couldn't be dispatched by tone for your town through Middlebury. Absolutely no reason why not. It's programming, a radio frequency, a PL tone, and that's it.
Okay, so that's great information because we didn't realize that, or at least I didn't realize
I didn't
that.
realize it.
Yeah, no, one of the things I did, I'm very big in technology, is we approved technology to make us more available to everybody. So I believe that, you're the customer, the town is the customer, the citizens are the customer, and we're here to serve at the betterment and the behest of you.
Well, I think we all appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay.
He's not going to ask me if my price is negotiable. Gee, I was surprised. I was waiting for the question. And my answer to your question that you didn't ask is life's a negotiation, sir. Everything in the world is negotiable.
Awesome, thank you very much.
No, you didn't ask. I would just, thought I'd answer.
Well, one thing that was said to MVR, and we would definitely extend it to you as well, is if any information that you can give on our website for our voters to look at your service, and whatever information you want to give, would be more than happy to extend that to you as well, of course.
Thank you very much. We'll
Thank you.
definitely take you up on that invitation. I assume we should forward that information to Heidi.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I just wanted to ask if the select board would like to invite both of the ambulance companies to the information session prior to town meeting and give them one more opportunity to address the voters.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yep, and if you provide your information prior to that, we can make sure that that's televised information as well to reach more of our voters.
Is there a specific date you'd like the information by?
I think the select board will finalize that tonight, but I think we have a proposed date of the 22nd of February, which is a Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I didn't ask the question, or maybe I didn't articulate what I was asking. The information for your website and for the information session, when would you like that information to you?
At your earliest convenience. We'll post it as soon as you get it to us.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll just put the information for both firms in front of my camera so that the viewers will be able to see it, since I am unable to share my screen. I think that you can see that. That is Missisquoi Valley's Rescue's proposal, and this is AmCare's proposal. Again, those will be available on the website, town's website.
We're already there, Heidi.
Sharon, I got some questions.
Absolutely.
So first set of questions is for Will. Will, Ty Swanier, I'm a town resident, also on the rec board, but my question is, what's the name of the parent company and where is it located out of?
So the parent company is called WLRC Medical, which is just a holding company. And I guess it's located in Maryland, the holding company per se, but it is just a holding company. AmCare is still the company, does all the business, all the bills, all the billing. Nothing has changed legally behind the scenes. It'll be no different than me being the shareholder directly of AmCare, just at the behest of my attorneys. There's a holding company, so it funnels through the holding company.
Okay, perfect. And do you own any other ambulatory services in northern Vermont?
In northern Vermont, no, sir.
Okay. And then I guess my next question is for Clem. Clem, have you seen any improvements on how the day-to-day operation works with other ambulance services under the new ownership?
What do you mean with other ambulance services?
If you go to a call, Southern Georgia, and you have to work with Milton Rescue, are you seeing any, I don't know, is there any differences in the way it ran with the previous ownership as it does? I don't know, you got a lot of new equipment, just asking if you've seen anything for mutual aid, I guess.
So just as before, just as it was under the umbrella of Walt Cool, as it is now, when we are on a mutual aid call, or we have to work with any other organization, we always, everybody, all organizations always work together towards the final goal, patient care, and that hasn't changed a bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, so yes, if you could get that information to us as quickly as possible, we'll try to get as much information out to our voters. As I said before, this group will vote on our balloting tonight, so that we have an idea of how this will be proposed to the public and to our voters for vote for town meeting. So, do we have any other questions for AmpCare? Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for
We
your time.
appreciate your time,
Thank you for having us.
and keep up the good work.
We will, thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Okay. So, and to reiterate, the select board had made a promise 3 years ago to the voters at town meeting to say that the public would decide the ambulance service contract. And that is being followed through. So the voters will vote upon which ambulance service they desire. And we will, it is our job to provide you with the most information and most accurate information we can get you, so you can make an informed decision. All right, the other contract that we put out to bid was for policing. Do we have anybody here from St. Albans? Heidi?
Yeah, Jason Weatherby, I'm here.
Hi Jason, how are you?
Not bad, yourself?
Not bad. How goes policing in Highgate?
So far, so good, unless you tell me otherwise. So kind of, I think Shelley got the numbers from me earlier in the week. Obviously, some of our calls were down this year. Call volume being down is not always a bad thing. Traffic stops were down a little bit. Obviously, with COVID, we're trying to limit contact for our health and safety, as well as the community's health and safety. That being said, we're trying to, with the hours that we are there, in light of the current pandemic, we're trying to, I think target's the wrong word, but be more reactive to complaints in specific areas as they arise, which I think we've focused on. Heidi's done a lot of emailing back and forth. Shelley, different folks from the town. It's been good to know if there's an issue and where it is, so we can tackle that the best of our capabilities. So I think things have been going well. The community, when we're out there, seems to be happy with us. If they're not, they let us know, and we try to change that. So I mean, if you have questions or specifics, I'd absolutely love to answer questions.
Do we have any questions?
How's ATV activity, up or down over the last year? Illegal ATV activity.
I don't know if the activity is up or down, but the complaints are down, it seems, on my end. We've I don't think that's ever going to be solved. You and I both know that for sure, but we've kind of taken a different approach. We make it known to some of the ATV, UTV users when we're in town, regardless of what they're doing, that we're having conversations. Look, this is the law. This is the ordinance. You can't be doing these types of things, et cetera, whether that's a gas station conversation or a group of people out at the barnyard. So I think that's helping a little bit. We've kind of come to a mutual somewhat mutual understanding. I'm not gonna jinx myself, I'll knock on wood, but they seem to be down. They're not non-existent, but they seem to be down.
I'd agree, just driving around town, I'm seeing a lot less of the illegal activity and more respectful riding is what I'm seeing, so I think you're having a good positive effect.
Good.
How's your, how do you, are you determining when you come to Highgate?
Well, one of the conversations that we have had with the select board in the past meetings was, as long as we're there for those hours, we're there for the, you guys weren't necessarily particular about that. We do the schedule month to month. We try to rotate. Summer hours, we try to be there more towards the weekend and evenings. I believe in February, we're going to be changing the schedule a little bit. More towards the morning commute and more days a week, less hours, if that makes sense. So it's kind of what we're seeing or what we're getting for complaints the previous month.
I just think, I'm seeing you around on this last weekend, and so I've seen you on Sunday mornings and stuff, and I just feel that that's kind of laid back. Sunday mornings, there's not much going on Sunday mornings around here, and you know, people are sleeping in, and I see you guys here. I think there's more important times to be around here, you know, and I've always pushed Wednesday nights and Saturday nights during hockey games. There's a lot of traffic on Gore, and some of it comes down by my place, and that hockey game is getting out, and I'm afraid there's been accidents there, and I'm afraid there could be more. So I'd like to see us on Saturday night, Wednesday and Saturday nights, those high school hockey games. They draw a pretty good crowd, if that's possible.
Yeah, no, that's possible. I think since July, we've worked almost every Saturday. I think almost every Saturday. And we try to split it too. Sometimes you'll see us in the morning for 4 hours. We might send a car up from like 7 to 11 or something, and then send another car out in the evening. But yeah, I can pull the Highgate arenas, or actually Ty could probably give it to me, the schedule for games, and we can manipulate our schedule to imitate that schedule. So that's not an issue by any means. This, as far as the Sunday goes, I think we've only worked 2 Sundays in recent months that I'm looking at the schedule. Yeah, December.
I seem to see them both times, then must be.
Hey, it's quite possible, and I'm okay with that nonetheless. But yeah, we can.
Richard likes to ride around.
Yeah.
Well, we drive by his house. It's a house bike.
So Jason, I can get Lee to email you the schedule for the rest of the varsity games for Milton and NBU games.
Perfect.
So Jason, I'm gonna ask the same question we asked of the ambulance services. How's the staffing issue?
Yeah, again, I'm gonna knock on wood. To say we're always up to staff, I'm never gonna say that. We have one in the academy now. We have all of our allotted slots are full. So I hate to say we're gonna have one up, but we're gonna have one up here come graduation. So things are good. We've had a little stint with COVID twice in-house, but that was very manageable, luckily. So again, we've been okay, better than in past years, and I'm okay with that.
That's great to hear. It's a thankless job. So.
Well, I can tell you, I can give you a little feedback too, as far as like the officers that do work in Highgate. it's kind of refreshing in a sense that it's a great, I'm not just trying to say this, it's a good community and they're always willing to talk with us and meet, and it's good. It's a good relationship that we're building with the community. I'll also tell you a little bit too, some of the stuff that we're doing, you know, Heidi, we're working with you a lot with some of the littering complaints. That seems to be a big issue for Highgate community. So we're doing that. Yeah, so we're working on that quite regularly, regardless of whether we're quote unquote on call at that time. We get that, we put that case together, and then either the next time or depending on the immediacy of it, we'll send someone right out to deal with that. Animal control in the summer seems to be more of a hot topic. So we try to accommodate to those things without deducting those from patrol hours. I probably shouldn't say that too loud. And that again goes for like the walk to school days that the school does. I get the schedule from them and we send an officer out those mornings to help cross the roadways. We've done a few different parades, and those, until somebody listens to this, hasn't been deducted from patrol hours. So in all reality, they're getting a little bit more bang for your buck.
Well, I can say that you're showing up for those types of community events and the events with the children makes a huge difference. It allows children not to be afraid of the police. It shows the community that you're active, you're around. I'm still getting comments about the Grinch that got locked up in the car, and I think people really appreciate that.
Good. That's what we're looking for sure.
I can tell you that I've been on the select board for a number of years, and I'm very pleased with your service.
I appreciate that, and we enjoy the relationship that we do have with you guys and gals and the community members. And I've said it every meeting I think that I've participated in, is if there's an issue, just let us know. And I think we've worked together with that pretty well. If we don't know about it, we can't deal with it. So sooner we can know about it, sooner we can deal with it for sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just to be fair, Lieutenant Weatherby, is your price negotiable?
That's a conversation for somebody, not me. It didn't go up. It didn't go up. I believe that's maintained from last year as well.
Yes, yep, I did see that.
I want to point out in the contract, I think it's Article 1, Section D, and I want to have a conversation about this. It just says, conversely, if staffing dictates hours to reduce in Highgate, the monthly calendar shall reflect such reduction as soon as possible. It's the very last sentence in E. All that caveat is we're not having an issue or expecting there to be an issue. But we would arrange the schedule accordingly if we went down staff to try to mitigate overtime costs on our end. And that would be an open and direct conversation that we would have through the board or through Heidi or both. So I believe that's a new sentence, and I don't want anybody to think we're trying to sneak something through there.
We understand.
That's what you got lawyers for.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Okay, any other questions for the St. Albans PD?
No, I just got a thank you. I've worked with Jason a couple times in the last month, and it's been great to work with him, and just thank the St. Albans PD for what they're doing.
Thank you, Ty. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I think that goes on behalf of the board.
Yep.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. I'll pass it along.
All right, thank you. All right, so for the benefit of the public, we did ask for a bid on this process because we are required to do so by law and by our statute. St. Albans Police were the only bid that was received. And as we are all confident and happy with their service, they are the contract that will show up in our budget for town meeting vote. So, moving on. Shelley.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So you should have a check warrant in front of you, Sharon.
I do.
Okay, any questions?
Everybody have a chance to look
All
at the check warrant? Do I have a motion to sign?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm real brief tonight. I've been busy wrapping up the budget and starting to get that town report wrapped up as well. So a reminder to anybody out there, Josh, you're still on, I see. MVR, if MVR would like an annual report in Highgate's town report, I'll need that by next week. And the select board reminder.
Yes, I got you.
And then just a quick little, the delinquent taxes, the total is down to $118,437.53. And that is the amount that will be shown in the town report. And you have an update on your table as well.
Yes.
And I think that is all. Oh, I also put the audit, the finalized audit on the table for your light reading, bedtime stories.
Yes.
That's all I have for you.
And Shelley, I want to thank you. Yesterday, we spent an hour on the phone yesterday discussing budgets and monies, and I appreciate you taking the time and reviewing some things with me, so we made sure we knew where we stood.
That's what I'm here for. No problem, anytime.
Okay, any other questions for Shelley?
Thank you, Shelley.
I will not be at your next meeting. So if you needed something from me for that meeting, just let me know and I'll have it for you. I will hopefully be gone.
And I would like to point out for the public that Shelley's job as delinquent tax collector, the better job she does, the less money she makes. So
She's doing a pretty good job.
she does a damn good job, so Shelley, we thank you a lot. Even though we don't always produce you with a lot of money.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, Wendy, we have lots of stuff with you.
Yeah, you do. So we can get a bunch of stuff out of the way if we want to approve minutes from December 2nd and December 14th.
Let me just, here I am. Okay, so have we all had a chance to look at the December 14th budget meeting minutes? Any questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and for the December 2nd, Thursday, select board meeting, Has everyone had a chance to read those? Are there any questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to sign those?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. The next thing we can approve and get signed, we have received our first liquor license renewal for 2022. It is for Highgate Village Market, which is RL Valley, and it is a second class liquor license.
So I would make the motion that we exit the regular select board meeting and enter into the liquor control board. Do I have a second for that motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, so 2022 liquor license renewal. They're required by law for the select board to sign off on them. And please sign in where she has written sign here, because otherwise you're in the unapproved. So, anyone have any questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to sign?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and that needs to be signed by all 5 of you, please. While you're signing that, quickly, we started licensing dogs again. Here we go. Flyers went out. So we've done close to 50 already, just in a couple of days. So hopefully we'll have another successful run between now and the end of March. We will have our clinic at the end of March, but I'll share more info on that as it gets closer. The rest of everything I have to discuss with you is what we're gonna do about town meeting.
Okay, so we've alluded to it a little bit, so let's jump right in.
Okay, so Shelley and I sat in on a webinar on Tuesday with.
Let me stop you just a minute.
Yeah.
Let me make a motion to exit the liquor control board.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And enter into the regular select board meeting. Sorry about that.
That's okay. The webinar we sat in on was with Vermont League of Cities and Towns and with Will Senning, who is the elections director at the Secretary of State's office. It was essentially a preview of the bill that is currently in the legislature regarding town meeting and what is expected to go through. It's similar to the bill last year, a few small changes. The requirement for petitions is not being taken out this year. So people that are running for office, you still need to get your signatures on your petitions. Last year that was waived. This year you do need to do it. But essentially it was in the Senate Government Operations Committee, voted out of there, went to the House GovOps and was on the floor today, is expected to be before the governor and signed by the end of next week. It will give, if he signs and it all goes through smoothly, it will give towns the option again this year to A, hold your floor meeting as usual. B, move your meeting to a later time when you think it will be safe or when we can get outdoors. Or C, move everything to Australian ballot like we did last year. We won't know what the governor is going to do. It won't be official until next week. So any decisions you make tonight, you could make motions contingent on, because we're not going to meet again until the 20th. And we have to get stuff compiled for the end of next week for the town report. So the decisions you make are going to affect your warning. They're going to affect your info session, when you have to hold it, things like that.
So preferably we should make our decisions tonight, so that allows everyone to not have such a tight schedule in getting all our legal requirements done.
Yes, I mean, they're expecting this to sail right through and the governor to sign off, giving towns those options. Like I said, he's not gonna sign it until next week. We won't know officially, but for town report purposes and the getting info sessions warned and all that stuff, if I know what you guys are thinking, like here's our plan A, here's our plan B, you know, we can pull the trigger as soon as we know.
Okay, so, board, what are your thoughts? A is floor town meeting as usual, or as has been the norm. B is delay.
Push it out to another date.
We prefer not to do that because that affects your grand lists and various other schedules, so that everything can be completed in a timely fashion. So I've been asked if we could not choose that option. And then to go Australian ballot. And if we were to go to Australian ballot, whether we are to mail ballots to everyone, or if we are to mail a postcard to everyone and tell them how we're going to do it, like we did last year, and have an absentee ballot form that's available, or you can show up at the polls.
So if you need, you know, numbers, like I looked up some numbers and last year we did go strictly Australian ballot. We did not mail ballots to everyone. I did mention to Sharon, if you decide you want to go that route, we cannot mail school ballots to everyone unless all 3 towns in our district are doing the same thing. And I know Franklin is still holding out hope they can have a floor meeting. And Swanton is already Australian ballot, so they're not going to be mailing them to everybody. So if you decide you want to mail ballots to everyone, it would be just the town ballot. And the time frame is going to be tight because petitions are not even due until the 24th of January. I won't have ballots until at a minimum the first week of February. Town meeting is March 1st.
The mail system is not exactly speedy.
No.
And the expense would be totally on the town. The state isn't offering any assistance if you decide to mail ballots to everyone. It would be on us. So not that it couldn't happen. The time frame will be tight. I will do whatever you guys feel is best.
If we didn't delay and have a regular floor meeting, would there be any requirements that we would want to put on? Because we voted as a board that we weren't going to enact any kind of mask mandate, but would we change that for town meeting?
I think we should change that for town meeting if we have it where we're gonna be in the school and the school recommends. So I think that case, I don't know if we should recommend it or just put it out. We would prefer if we did that. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but.
It's probably gonna have to be the school's policy.
Right.
Whatever the school's policy is, and the school says you gotta wear masks in the school, you gotta wear masks in the.
So it wouldn't be us going back on what we said, it would be.
We would have to follow the school's policy, I'm guessing.
I would think, yeah.
I personally don't like the idea of sending ballots to everybody, only because of the number of people that throw them in the garbage, and it's a huge waste of money. I want everybody to vote, but I think it's a total waste of money to do that. I prefer having a floor meeting, me personally. Having said that, you get a lot more participation by going Australian ballot. And I hate the thought of town meeting going away. as we know it.
I noticed in the news, I don't think it's a tradition, I don't think it's gonna go away, I think it's just a temporary thing for this year, I think it'll be the last year. My thought though, as we talked about before, was mail postcards, informational postcards, to request an absentee ballot. That will save the town and the taxpayers postage. Only the people that vote will get a ballot, instead of, like you said, sending out 2,500 ballots.
Right.
And only getting 25% back.
So the question is, do we have a floor meeting or do we go Australian?
Can we have both?
Well, we'll have to have both, as far as like the school budget and that'll have to
Well,
go
the
up.
school budget is completely Australian.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
there's nothing, I mean, town meeting, as we know, it's never gonna be the same anyways, because the
Right.
school budget's no longer involved with it.
Right,
So that's gonna take your town meeting and probably pare it down to, well, on the average, maybe 2 or 3 hours, depending if there's a hot button topic. But it sounds like, I mean, obviously, to send everybody a ballot and expect them back and expect Wendy to get them tallied, that's ridiculous, for starters. Would that be a fair statement, Wendy?
I agree.
Okay.
And wasn't there already a lot of pushback and I
There-
would say
there was-
negativity from the
There was
vote?
pushback. She had certain people say, don't ever send me a ballot again like this.
So let's learn our lesson on that one.
Exactly.
Absentee.
So I think the way to do it is send postcards.
but the postcards, if you, for absentee, but don't usually, absentee people usually ask for them themselves? In the past, we don't send out postcards, right?
Postcards would be, sorry, I'm cutting you off, Wendy. I think the postcards would be if you chose to go the Australian ballot route, because people that would typically come to the polls would want to request a ballot or at least know how to vote differently.
And I think it's one per household and more informational, like, hey, guys, we're not having a floor meeting again this year. If that's what you're deciding.
So if it's postcards, there's no floor meeting. If there's a floor meeting, it's just normal.
Yep, if there's a floor meeting, I don't see a point for any postcards.
No postcards.
To me are, we're going this route again, and here's what we're doing. We're gonna be at the arena from 7 to 7. You can vote that day, or if you want to absentee, here's how you can get one. Here's when our informational session is. It would be very similar to the postcard we sent out last year.
Well, I mean, what's our goal? Our goal, I would think, is to get the most participation in the town. And what is the best way this year to do that?
Well, bottom line, what's the best any year to do that?
Well, I mean,
It's gonna be Australian ballot, and there goes your town meeting, as you know it, it's gone. And that's a tradition that people will jump on the spear for. People don't wanna lose that town meeting.
I would like to see the town meeting this year. This rescue thing, I'd like to see the people talk about it and they do their thing. And I want us to stay out of it as much as possible. Because I don't want us to get into like I've seen it in the past.
Well, I believe that's why we
Right,
doing
right,
is to let the
Right, yeah,
taxpayers.
But what I'm saying,
No question.
bring it to the floor and let it be, it's gonna draw a big crowd, that is, I think it is.
Yeah, well, that'll be a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should go with town meeting as normal.
I guess my question is, this year, how much participation are you gonna get if you do a regular floor, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
How much do you ever get?
Well, I don't know.
About 100 people.
About 100 people.
Yeah. And that's a big number.
You know,
No,
are people gonna be afraid to come out and
That's
have
gonna
a
be the
floor
thing.
meeting?
That's the thing.
And that's why I say this year. I mean, look at this in a microcosm, not like.
Right. But having said that, people could still come to the polls and not stay to a meeting if they were concerned about that. And we could take, Wendy, do you feel we could take safety precautions if we attempted a floor meeting?
I do. I guess it would be if the school would allow us to be in there. I don't know. Right now, I think they're still letting people in to rent the space or use the space. I know at one point during COVID, they weren't, so I don't know. As long as we had a place to have it. Yes,
So,
I mean,
so I know for rec basketball, they're not letting parents in to watch their kids. It's coaching the players currently.
Well, at 2,400 cases today, that probably is not gonna go away.
What choice do we have?
I know.
We don't have any choice at all. How can we plan on having a floor meeting if we don't know we have a floor to have it on?
That's right.
Oh, and you know, they say that it's probably gonna top out and go the other way in another month, but
We can't wait that long.
we can't wait that long to make a decision.
No, ballots have
Yeah.
to be printed.
you have to know in the
Well, that
next,
pretty much answers that question
I
right
would
there,
say
then.
the next week.
That answers that question, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We have to send the postcards and
Send
do it like that, and do it
postcards.
Australian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, what choice do we have for one more year?
right.
Yeah, it's just this year that we gotta make this decision. I don't see us having to do this past this year.
Okay, so can we have a motion?
I sadly make the motion to go Australian ballot, and send the postcards out,
I'll second it.
letting people know.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So, I got a question.
Yeah.
We're gonna
That
have,
5 yeses, I couldn't really hear.
yeah,
5 ayes.
Yep,
we're gonna have an informational meeting. Would that informational meeting, would we host it here of what we, or would we open up?
So I can answer this. Again, that's going to be your call, but if you are deciding to go Australian ballot, you need to have your informational session within the 10 days preceding town meeting, which would be basically the week before. So that Monday is the 21st. That's technically a holiday. We can do it that day if you want. I had thrown out Tuesday, the 22nd.
I'm good with that.
Do you know when MVU would have their informational meeting?
I don't think I have not heard anything about MVU's informational meeting. I haven't. I could let them know that you guys are scheduling yours so they'll stay away from it. But I also wanted to add that part of this bill that's going through the motions right now gives boards the authority to have complete remote informational sessions if you so choose. So you can do in person with a Zoom link, you could do, hybrid, you could do whatever you wanted, but it gives you the ability to go fully remote with Zoom and phone options for folks if need be. That's just for the info session.
Okay, can we agree on February 22nd? Okay, so let's go February 22nd for that info meeting.
Want to do like 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And we'll provide a Zoom link and in person.
And figure out where it's gonna be.
Put it in here.
Zoom link. There's usually a phone option too, isn't there, Heidi? Okay. And the only other question, I say only other question, let me find my list. So we're not mailing them to everybody. We're gonna do absentees by request. We're sending a postcard. We're going Australian ballot. Polls open 7 to 7 at the arena. Pending the governor's final signature next week, correct?
Correct.
And then the info session, Tuesday, February 22nd at 6 p.m. in person with a phone and Zoom link. I mean, unless things take a terrible turn, I guess you can change your mind about that. And I wanted to ask, is that meeting going to be in addition to or in place of your February 17th regular meeting? Because you will have meetings in February on the 3rd and the 17th, and then we'd have this info session on the 22nd. So is that going to be a third meeting? Or in place of the second?
Let's make it a third meeting.
Okay.
Is Ty still on there?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, Ty, a question for you. That's right around March 1st and that. What's your date on your playoffs?
I don't have it right now in front of me, Richard. I think it's more towards,
Because I know that's the same week as basketball playoffs, so I didn't know if hockey fell on the same time or not.
I don't have that answer, but I can get it to you, Richard.
Because I don't want it, because I don't want it to conflict it, you know.
Okay. So to reiterate, your petitions to run on the ballot, you do need to get signatures, a minimum of 24. They're due January 24th by 5 p.m. Petitions for warned articles require 120 signatures, and those are due to me by January 13th at 4 p.m. The only other question I had was, if we're going by ballot, the two questions posed to the voters about ambulatory services, are those non-binding advisory opinions?
Would those be non-binding, since we have to do that?
Well, you'd, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like, according to the town's lawyer, we could put in a non-binding advisory opinion. But the select board to choose the most votes as the yes winner.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we're wording it correctly on the warning, that they're a non-binding advisory opinion, and there's going to be a yes, no for each of those questions. And I suggested, our attorney thinks it's a good idea as well, that those two questions be on a completely separate ballot.
Yes.
It'll still go through the tabulator, still be, press the button at the end of the night and we'll have our answers. But it would have a different header to make sure people read both questions carefully before they, choose their yeses or nos. So separate ballot, do you all agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I think that's all I had, which is probably the most I've ever spoke at one of these meetings.
You've done good.
Yeah. So for folks listening or watching, the select board is proposing and has now voted on having a separate ballot for the ambulatory services with two non-binding advisory opinions for contracts for the ambulance services. Those will be on a ballot. You'll be asked to read them carefully. The ballot item that gets the most yes votes will be the item that, or the ambulance service that the select board awards the contract to. Okay. Wendy, do you need us to finalize the town meeting warning based on updated info from?
I think I had it pretty much finalized. I left it in draft form because at the very end, I'm gonna have to add information where it's highlighted about the info session.
Right, and you're going to have to.
Once I get your final figures from your meeting tonight, I will give Wendy the updated amounts for that warning, and then she'll probably run around to all of you and grab signatures before it's posted around town and put in the town report.
Okay, so you don't need a motion from us?
Yeah, you can, as presented with updated figures from Shelley based on your budget discussion from earlier.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the town meeting warning
I'll make the motion.
as advised, or as updated?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So once it's complete, I'll run around, see you all to get signatures and we'll be good to go.
Okay.
Richard, I have an answer for you on the playoffs. Playoffs, I think, are start the first week of March, so there's no game on that February 22nd.
No, yeah, but I was looking at the first. Is there anything, is there any games, would any games be played on town meeting day? Because you said they start the first week of March.
I don't have an answer on what the playoff schedule will look like, but I know regular season, I think the last game of their regular season is the 23rd of February.
I would bet that most schools would not do that.
I know basketball do because.
No, hockey games usually fall Wednesday, Saturday though.
What's that?
Hockey games don't usually happen on a Tuesday, even playoffs.
Okay, I don't know, I never followed too much hockey, so that's why I was just asking. I know basketball, I know last year we went way to Proctor on town meeting day. So,
Okay, any other questions for Wendy? Okay. Thank you, Wendy. Hopefully that gives you all the information you need to start your lengthy process.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Heidi.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm going to start right out with a grant amendment from Northern Borders Regional Commission. So this is for our airport project. The amount is the same. It's still the 507,107, but the scope of the project was reduced to the component that this money is paying for. So they shrunk down the scope to allow us to get a notice to proceed. So there is a copy in front of you with a couple flags on it for you to sign.
So has everybody had a chance to look at the grant agreement?
Yes.
Any questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to sign the grant agreement between the Northern Border Regional Commission and the town of Highgate?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. So there was a full report in your packet. There's a lot of projects and a little bit of progress on all of them. But I'll just skip forward to the next action item, which was for an appraisal on potential land option for the wastewater system. But I've run into a snag with this company that submitted the estimate. They were the only firm that did submit. But as I've asked them to provide proof of insurance and sign a waiver of liability, they've said that's not the sort of way that they like to operate for business. So we've decided to part ways since they were not willing to show us an insurance certificate. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and see if I can find a different appraiser to do that work for you. So unfortunate. So I would move on to the next topic, which is your communication union district. And I had put a resolution in your packet for signature. But since that time, there's been a little bit of a switcheroo, and Randy Connolly, who has kindly been serving since Highgate signed up for the communication union district, has said that he's otherwise committed and unable to be the representative. So your alternate, Michael Kravitz, has come forward and said he'd be happy to be the representative, and will put Randy in as an alternate in case he is able to attend a meeting that Michael can't. So I'm asking you to please approve that resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Michael, for taking that responsibility, and thank you, Randy, for letting us know.
Okay, moving right along. So one of your FEMA projects, the home buyout on the Macy Road, you have some commitment documents in front of you, and this is the last step before they will give us a grant. So if you can sign for that commitment, although the town is not putting any funds into this, the town is the subrecipient. So we will manage the billing and the funds and settle all of the debt before anything goes to the homeowner.
Has everyone had a chance to look at that? Can I have a motion to sign?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, AOT mileage certificates are signed annually. And I think in your report, I had put a comment in the for your information section, and then some action happened. I was able to move it up, but so you can disregard the one I forgot to pull out of the for your information section. Action item is that you have the certificate filled out for this year. We had been communicating back and forth with AOT about the cul-de-sac on Town Highway 30, which is the Gagne Road. Somehow it's been on the map as a complete cul-de-sac owned by the town, which does not accurately reflect the fact that a portion of it is privately owned. So your class 3 road mileage drops down 0.04, which will slightly affect your state aid coming in. But it's just to clear up an old housekeeping issue.
I'll make the motion.
do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So Heidi. Yes. We talked about this a couple times. So if, I guess my concern is if it goes all the way around, would we have to get with the landowners or on, you know, because if a bus is gotta get through there, right? You know, and I just wanna make sure that they don't get stuck up there. And, you know, and the gentleman is getting older, you know, is that something that, we're talking with Butch, is that something that we could do, or could that be a problem?
Well, two separate issues. So what you're doing tonight is just clarifying what is the current status. So I think you raised good points, and I think Butch was also somewhat thinking on the same lines that maybe at some point the town would want the whole cul-de-sac to be town-owned. So you could potentially initiate a conversation with the landowner and start that discussion and see if they're amenable to that. And then if you were able to make that happen, then we would change the map again.
Okay, I just didn't want it to be a big, blown out of proportion, and I just want, I'm asking you a couple times because I want to make sure ducks are in a row the right way.
Well, yeah, I think for your, for the town's planning, it might make sense to start that conversation and see if that's a possibility. For the flexibility of the school bus and the ease of the snowplow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, what else do you have for us?
I think the rest of my information is just in your report. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, but I don't have any more action items for you. I just had a couple points to cover with you in personnel and in executive session. And I think that Ty would like to also join us in executive session to talk about a personnel issue.
Okay, but before we go into executive, we've had a request from Lisa Bovat, 2230 Maury Road, for guardrails. Now, where is that exactly?
It's new information that came in today. Butch just brought this to me, so he hasn't even had a chance to talk to Richard about it yet. He just wanted to put it on your radar. I think that there was a serious accident that happened there with a speeding car coming very close to their property. And so they were looking to see if the town would entertain guardrails for their safety in the future.
Is that the one right at the end of Bruceau Road?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes.
That's correct. I probably should point out, I think that the request is coming maybe not necessarily from the landowner, maybe just an occupant. Not that would necessarily make any difference, because probably any activity would be in the road right away. I think Butch's preference was more for maybe speed reduction or further signage rather than a guardrail. But again, he wanted to talk to Richard about it and make a plan.
All right, so the select board has also had a request from MVU for their class of 2022 substance-free graduation celebration. They're asking for donations, any contributions you can provide, monetary donations, gift cards, products from your company, etc.
What has the town done in the past?
Shelley, do you have an idea of what the town did before?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted. I was already speaking to you. In the past, a $250 cash donation has been given.
Can I have a motion to give $250?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
So you'll see that in your next check warrant.
okay. And then Heidi, you've received permission to do test pits on the Furniture Road property owned by the town?
Correct.
Okay. So that is an ongoing thing to provide us with additional winter sand, should we have the opportunity to need to excavate. Okay, is there anything else for the select board?
I have one thing, Sharon.
Yes.
Now that the legislation is back in session and it sounds like I don't know if we're already down to one representative or if we're still with two. I know the representative that we're going to end up with has been almost non-existent at our select board meetings for information on what's going on at the State House. I think the select board or the town should ask our representatives for a monthly update while they're in session. I know Lisa is very good at being on her email list. She does a weekly update. But I think keeping us in the loop of what's going on at Montpelier and what they're doing for us is absolutely necessary.
Yes, I think the accountability was completely lost on one of our representatives. Lisa does, as you said, a fabulous job for us. But yes, we can certainly approach Mr. Martin and request updates.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else for the select board or public comment? Okay, so I would entertain the motion to exit the regularly selected select board meeting.
Oh, hold it, sorry.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Who are the winners of the light? If everybody's asking me,
I know.
and I don't
The
know.
Freemans.
Up on.
Jack, yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, that was,
Fred
Fairly
Petty came in second, and the Souzas came in third.
And
Yours truly did good at honorable mention.
you did? And Ty, thank you and
Yeah.
the rec director for a great job with the parade.
Yep.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I guess I'm done.
Okay. And for those who missed it, the Grinch was arrested and put in the cop car for the parade.
excellent.
Justice was served.
There you go. Got that meanie old Grinch.
Way to go, St. Albans PD.
Yeah. Okay, so exit regular select board meeting to enter into executive with Heidi Bridge Valenta and Ty Schwarner. Motion, second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll say.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, we did.